We're also going to be talking about the benefits of the living trust, because here's what's going to be happening. Your living trust, via your private operating agreements, you're going to convey ownership from your limited liability limited partnership and your LLC treated as S corp. You're going to convey ownership privately to your trust. But guess what controls your trust? Your private family trust company. So look, you don't actually control any, you could essentially control everything but own nothing. If you have it to where you have an LLC treated as S corp that's owned and managed by an LLC, an LLC that's owned and managed by a holding company that's an LLC treated as S corp, and then that ownership is conveyed privately to your trust, and then that LLC treated as S corp also as the 99% limited partner and owner of your family bank that holds all of your personal assets, including your investments and your cash value life insurance policy. Guess who the 1% general owner of your family bank is going to be? Your trust. So now your trust has owns 100% stock in your LLC treated as S corp, and it's the 1% general owner. However, the trust doesn't control what happens with all of this. It's the family trust company that controls it. Uh, my grandfather owned, motels, and now he still owns a room at home to this day. And one of the things that he told me was, if you have just two people living in a house, you always know who did it, right? If you go to a refrigerator and you look in it and you had a sandwich in there, and now that sandwich is gone, and it's only one other person in that house, who did it? You know it wasn't you, so you know for a fact that it was this other person. But all you have to do is introduce one more person for that reasonable doubt to come in. Because if you go to open that refrigerator and your sandwich is gone, and you go to one of those people and say, "Hey, did you eat my sandwich?" What they're gonna say? "No, I didn't eat it. Must have been other person." And then you're gonna go to that other person. They're gonna say, "No, I didn't eat it. Must have been that other person." And it's a back and forth rigmarole that you won't be able to stop. The same could be said if you have an LLC treated as LLC that does business with the public, that's owned by an LLC treated as S corp, and that LLC is treated as S corp also is the 99% owner of your family bank, and your family bank owns all of your personal assets, the inherent liability and non-inherent liability. And then privately, ownership for both sides is conveyed to your trust, and your trust is owned by your family. If something were to happen, who's liable? Because here's the thing, a lot of you have it set up to where if your business does harm to somebody, that damage won't come back to you personally. And what's to say if you are personally driving your personal car and you get into an accident and a baby dies in the other car? That happens, folks. That's not just something that I'm just saying. What happens if you are driving personally, you get into an accident and then a baby dies? That's easily $1 million judgment. And now your name personally owns all of your LLCs. Your name personally owns all of your everything, all of your personal assets. That's when they're able to come in through the back door and have you to have to liquidate your business. Because here's the thing, we're not setting up a business to get over on people. Now, um, I don't, I want to make sure that we're not setting this up so we can take advantage of people because we know that they can't, sue us. No, we're setting this up to protect ourselves against the frivolous lawsuit people. Because one of the benefits of domiciling your family bank in Wyoming is they have what's called charging orders. So let's say you were to get sued, or let's say that somebody wants to sue you frivolously. Like they want to sue your company for no good reason. This is a frivolous lawsuit, and they want to say, all right, this is going to be a quick, easy check. And usually it's considered a quick, easy check for them because they know that they can go to an attorney, and most attorneys are willing to take their case on contingency, which means that, hey, uh, I know you can't pay me up front for my services. So what I'll do is I'll work this lawsuit for you. And when the lawsuit is done, whatever you win, you give me 33%. You giving me money is contingent upon me winning this case for you. And if I don't win this case, then you owe me nothing, right? So a lot of frivolous lawsuit people are willing to do that because they don't have to come out of pocket. What might happen if somebody wants to get a lawsuit, they're going to look, and let's say that they're able to find this company, because remember, this company is nowhere listed publicly with your name publicly on it. But let's say they are able to find this company. Soon as the attorney sees that you have this LLP domiciled in Wyoming, one of the first things they're going to do is let that person that's trying to sue you know, say, hey, we can still go through with the lawsuit, but I have to charge a retainer. I can't work this on contingency. What do y'all think is the reason that this attorney went from being willing to take any case on contingency to now they need a retainer? It's because they understand the domicile state that they're dealing with. They understand that there's a chance that even if they win a judgment against you, because there's only charging orders, you could not get paid out, right? So, and I'm going to go through in more detail what it means, the charging orders versus foreclosure. If somebody were to file a lawsuit to you, there are typically two legal remedies if you are found liable. They do charging orders saying how much you owe, and then they do foreclosure where they have to liquidate your assets in order to pay how much you owe. A lot of states have both charging orders and foreclosure, to where first is charging, and if you don't satisfy that, then they go to foreclosure to liquidate things. Wyoming doesn't do that. All right, so that's the difference between a charging order state versus a charging order and foreclosure state. So now just imagine this person. Now they have to come out of pocket. So for most people, if they have to come out of pocket to pay for an attorney, the lawsuit is dead in the water, right? But let's say that they do have the money and they want to go ahead and pay this retainer for this attorney. What's going to happen is, when the attorney, let's say they file the lawsuit, and let's say for whatever reason they win the lawsuit, and let's say it's $1 million judgment against your company. Because it's a charging order state, you don't have to, and they are only allowed to take money from distributions that your company makes. You don't have to make a distribution from your company ever again if you don't want to. You can just borrow from your company for the remainder of your life, right? So with that being the case, so let's say once again a lawsuit was filed against you, the person paid the retainer, they won the lawsuit, and then they got the charging order for $1 million. You really don't have to pay in a lot of instances, right? But so what you might do is then you get what they call a second bite at the apple, to where you can go back and say, hey, I know you won this judgment against me. It's $1 million judgment, but as you know, my company is domiciled in Wyoming. It's an LLP, so you really can't, I really don't have to make any distributions. However, if you sign this release for, let's say, 100,000, I know the lawsuit you won was $1 million, but let's say 100,000, you sign this release, let's just call it even. A lot of times they're going to take that deal because a percentage of something is better than 100% of nothing.